can't sleep at all. Every day doing the same old thing, we're losing time. The weekend comes, we gotta have some fun and rewind. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. I feel the rope tightening, choking off our air. We need to grab some lightning. Friday's almost here. Caught in a web, we need to cut this thread we're hanging by. Where is it said you have to be half dead to survive? These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder.
There we go. All right. It
Rock on.
is time.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for WordPress plugins A to Z, not Z.
It's interview 77, and we have Corey Maass from Gelform talking about AI in plugin creation, marketing strategies, and the evolution of WordPress products, and more. All coming up on WordPress, the king of content management systems, powering the web with over 80,000 plugins to choose from. How do you sort the junk from the gems? Welcome to WP Plugins A to Z, where we've been keeping the pulse of WordPress alive for over 16 incredible years. Join us every week for an unrehearsed, real talk breakdowns of the latest and greatest plugins, developer and community member interviews. Some weeks, Amber and I team up to dig in. Others, I'm flying solo, unpacking WordPress news, demoing a standout plugin, or sharing tips to power up your site. No scripts, no fluff, just the good stuff from A to Z. So plug in and let's get rolling. Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be out there on the globe today. Coming to you direct from the brewery overlooking beautiful southern Vancouver Island. I'm John O'Roll, and welcome to interview 77 on WP Plugins A to Z, where we dive deep into the world of WordPress with innovators who are pushing the boundaries of what is possible. Today, we're thrilled to have Corey Maass from Gelform, a full-stack developer who's been crafting websites since the late 90s and specializing in advanced WordPress magic since 2012. With a portfolio that includes premium plugins like Image for image optimization, Kaban WP for admin task management, and the AI-built post calendar for effortless post scheduling, Corey brings a startup mindset to solving real-world problems for agencies, businesses, and fellow developers. He's built and sold 2 plugin businesses, collaborated with big names like Opt-in Monster and Post Status, and even weaves in his love for music and dad jokes along the way. Join us as we explore AI in plugin creation, marketing strategies, and the evolution of WordPress products fueled by Yorkshire Gold Tea. Of course, let's get into it. Welcome to the show, Corey. Or that's my computer. I forgot to turn off my announcements.
Thank you very much.
I seem to do that every show at least once. So
It's got to be something.
Well, there, there's so many things I check. I did a checklist right on my screen. That would make it all challenging. But thanks for joining me on the show, Corey. I greatly appreciate you being here.
My pleasure.
All right. So, well, as we mentioned here in your brief bio there, you've been building websites since the late 90s or so. Tell us a little bit about your journey into WordPress and what drew you to it, and how has that platform evolved in your eyes?
Yeah, the I started back in the 90s to promote myself as a musician, making dance music. Still do that on the side. If you Google me carefully, you'll find me. DJ and still DJ and make dance music. But that was, early 90s. I had a college roommate who was like, "Have you checked out this internet thing? You can find out more about your favorite bands." And I did. I was like, "Oh, that's cool. How do I do that?" Because I was always a nerd and wanted to make uh, learn to make things. So that turned into a career. Nice coincidence, because back then you couldn't exactly major in web design, web development. And then along the way, I wound up working for an agency. Of course, I kept hearing about this thing called WordPress, but it was not terribly reliable. And this is way back in the day, I'm saying, the original, what was it? The 5-minute install never took 5 minutes,
No.
all that kind of stuff. But I wound up working for an agency that dove deep into, so if you've heard of Tough Mudder, it's like a lot of people are more familiar with the Spartan races. So the crazy cross country races where you carry logs and stuff like that.
I've run a Tough
Um,
Mudder.
okay, so Tough Mudder, way back in the day, I worked for an agency that was building basically an intranet for them to manage all of their events,
Yeah.
and the agency chose to do it on WordPress, and I wound up to my elbows in WordPress, hacking and slashing. This was, I think, plugins maybe existed at that point, but anyway, a lot of custom code, a lot of, again, hacking and slashing. But I realized I saw the potential, um, and pretty quickly after that, almost every client I got as a freelancer and a bunch of companies that I worked for, all were WordPress. It was just kind of an easy option because it was growing so quickly and so many people were using it. Um, my background up to that point, I had gone from being a designer and just sort of a site builder to actually trying to build SaaS apps, um, and actual software using the web as an interface. And so pretty early on, WordPress became pretty obvious for me, especially if you're building apps that are consumer based B2C, um, that WordPress actually works great because it already does user management. I was like, oh, I never have to build a password reset flow again. This is amazing. It's got a built-in router. So if you've got different URLs, it'll automatically figure out what to do with them or serve a 404 page, all this kind of stuff. So I honestly still build a lot of SaaS apps. And in fact, behind the window where I'm talking to you, I've got two in progress, in addition to all the plugins that I build and everything else. So that kind of got me into WordPress, and I've been building for it ever since, both apps and sites and plugins and community and kind of every aspect of it I could get into. I even have a banner back there that somebody gave me. I'm that cool.
Well, that's always a nice journey into WordPress. Now, you've built in. What were some lessons you?
Sure. Well, I was real happy that I had some experience building SaaS apps, and I sold one before I got into WordPress years ago, or right around the time I was getting into WordPress, I should say. And so lots of reading about software outside of WordPress helped me along the way. Um, Little things like uh, keeping good records, thinking about, like, I actually just told a buddy of mine about a pretty classic business book called the E-Myth Revisited. There's an E-Myth and then there's an E-Myth Revisited. And kind of for me, I don't know, now 20 years ago or something, that book came out and it was the hot book that everybody was reading. But one of the little lessons in it, it's still totally worth reading. It'll feel a little dated, but lots of still lots of good stuff to learn. One of the big lessons in that was run a business like you're going to franchise it. Or I think more relevant to us is run a business like you're going to sell it, like from day one. So I always have a separate Stripe account, a separate business account, separate everything. And so it's pretty easy to flip a switch, hand the keys to somebody else, and off you go. So little things like that make it easy to think about selling. The other big thing for me was both times that I sold I think all three businesses that I've sold came from very hard self-reflection and realizing that these were just things that they were either products that I couldn't take further, either financially. For me, it's always marketing. I'm a developer, so marketing is always a sore spot, of course.
Understand that.
And right. And so turning around and realizing, oh, there's somebody else that could take this and run with it, was a huge burden off my shoulders, frankly, because you feel like you're abandoning a product and doing it a disservice. But if you're giving it to somebody else who can do better things with it, even better.
That's some good points. I never thought about those points of running a business as if you're planning to sell it. That is a really great thing. Now, we're going to be talking a bit further down the line here about Gelform, and the most recent plugin you've created with Gelform. But Gelform, that company yourself there, you work with a diverse range of clients, from Focus Features to Opt-in Monster. How do you adapt your WordPress expertise to handle products of varying clients and scales?
Yeah, it really just kind of depends on them, right? Like there are times when I'm in control and there are times when I'm not. I often end up selling myself, especially these days, as something like a CTO for hire. And so I will walk in and say, look, I've got now 12, 15 years of WordPress experience, and have benefited from working with some big companies. Opt-in Monster, Alley are two that come to mind that thankfully emphasize doing things the WordPressy way. And so I've benefited from that, because I came in like most developers who, if they don't start with WordPress, they go, this is crazy. This is not MVC, or this is not using the latest frameworks, or back in the day, this is not using namespacing and all these sins that we think. But once you learn to do things the WordPressy way and kind of stop fighting it and realize that this is actually pretty okay, it's pretty logical, it makes it a lot easier to walk into somebody else's code or somebody else to inherit code from you, all that kind of stuff. So for me now, it's usually that it's walking in and kind of going, I have this experience. Do you want to learn from it? And most people say yes.
Well, let's see how that goes. Sorry.
I know, right?
Well, I'm listening to you, but I've also got a minor technical glitch flowing here in the background. I've been notified that my volume is down while yours is up. So I've been checking a few settings here and there just to make sure. So hopefully I'll get some feedback here while I chat for a moment to make sure it's all working.
Excellent. Your volume's about even equal for me. So.
Well, the interesting part is because I use so many different plugins, Microsoft has a problem with my settings, and it thinks its suggestions for my settings should be changed. So periodically it goes in and goes, you know what? I don't think you should be using this microphone. You should be using this one over here that doesn't really work very well, because I have a microphone on my camera. I have another microphone elsewhere. Or my favorite is when it goes in and goes, you know what? We don't like the volume settings you chose for your microphone. We're going to readjust them down for you because they're just too loud for us. So,
gee, thanks.
This is the whole problem of Microsoft thinking that it knows better than you do on how your system should work.
They always have. They always will.
Yeah, so it annoys me to no end. Yeah, there it is right now. Now, when I go look, I see that Microsoft chose my other microphone, even though I have programs that can choose separate microphones. All right, let's go take this continuing down the line. Welcome to Live to Tape Show. Don't worry, I'll edit this all out in post. All right.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. No, I've been doing the show for a long time now, 16 years, and I tried in the beginning to do post editing, and I went, you know what? This is not worth the time.
Nope.
All right.
Nope.
Well, let's
And
talk.
as a former musician and performance, a person who used to perform a lot and DJ and all that, part of the fun, maybe sometimes part of the challenge anyway, is always this kind of stuff. Something always goes wrong. You just got to roll with it.
You roll with it, especially when it's live and live to tape. I learned live to tape back in my college days when I was taking a course on all this stuff.
There
All
you
right,
go.
let's talk a little bit about plugin development and tools. Okay, now you built Post Calendar, and is it a recent build? I didn't know if it was a recent build or not.
Yeah, it's brand new. That's kind of why I wanted to jump on here and promote it.
Okay.
It's free. I have no intention of selling it
Yeah.
at the moment. But I think that it's a really good product, and I'm surprised that there isn't more, that it doesn't already exist, frankly. I mean, there's a couple that do similar things.
Yeah.
There always are, right? But I want to shine some light on it. I think it deserves it.
Yeah, well, that's for sure. And the end thing is that I hadn't heard about it till you sent it to me, and I did go through and test it out, and it does work pretty nice. I've loaded it up on a couple of different sites already to see how it goes. We'll see if we can get you more than the 10 plus active installs that it currently has, according to.
Well, and this is, I mean, the conundrum. I know that it exists on more than 10 sites, so who knows where.
Yeah, well, that's
Automatic is getting their stats as usual.
Well, Automatic in their stats are their stats, but the thing is it's hard to find, and we've had a lot of discussions in and around on Twitter recently about finding the unknown gems. And this is nice. I've tried different post calendars over the years because I've always wanted to get a nice, easy post calendar to manage my posts and to tell me what I've got upcoming, what's going, and also because I like to bring in people from time to time to manage my posts for me. And I'm notorious for I'll start a post and then it'll sit there and draft and get forgotten. So you have some really nice functionalities on it. Now, tell us a bit about why you built it, aside from the little brief you just mentioned, and how does it solve pain points for creators in the WordPress admin?
So two came out of two specific websites. One is I run a music blog that's gone a little dormant at the moment, but especially during COVID, I was trying to write about a lot of music that was coming out, and had writers writing about music that was coming out because these creators were now not able to go out and DJ and promote their music. And so I wanted to, again, shine some light on the work they were doing. So we had at least 2 music reviews coming out every week, which meant, just as you said, articles in progress, articles in progress. And once you've got, all the assets and you've got the tweets lined up and you've got all, everything ready to go, you want to make sure that they're scheduled for the right time. And that was always kind of a hassle. And then my primary client has 2 online magazines, and so they've got stories that are coming out often more than one a day, and so there's a huge benefit of seeing all of the stories on a calendar so that you know which ones are coming out when and how many you have stacked on a page or on a day, and that they're not going to both come out 20 minutes apart, because then they're not going to get the attention that they're due, and all that kind of stuff. So I tried really, there was only one other plugin that I found that did something similar, but kept having issues with it. And so I combined that with coming into the age of AI development and said, okay, here's like a really good instance, a really good idea of something that I want to have built. And let me use AI to help me build it. So thus Post Calendar was born.
Yeah, well, that's a very nice calendar. And you touched briefly on being that. I thought I would promote one of my clients here, Music Insider Magazine, in case you don't know who they are.
Nice.
So another place where you can find out information for your music site. Um,
Love it.
I have a very diverse selection of clients in my business. For my business
A lot of us do.
is wild sometimes. What the stuff I'm differently working on. Now, when you were building out the post calendar, you made mention that you used AI for building it. Was it exclusively built or AI? Or did you what processes did you use to have the AI help you or build this for you?
Right. So for me, this came out last updated a month ago. It says I've launched it a couple of months ago at this point. Um, for me, at that point, largely code being written and me working with AI. I think primarily Cursor for this one. Um, Basically, me acting as the project manager and lead developer, and then having Cursor generate the code. I've actually just in the last couple of months come quite a bit further where I'm acting now more just as project manager, and I'm doing code reviews and stuff like that, but largely just letting AI do its thing, writing all the code, organizing it, all that kind of stuff. So slowly, I think like we have automatic driving cars and all that stuff. Little by little, you take your hands farther and farther away from the steering wheel.
Yeah.
um, but like I said, so I was like, this is relatively safe functionality. Planes are not going to fall out of the sky.
Hmm.
It does not interfere with your posts or anything like that. And so I was like, this is a great candidate for kind of my first experiment, my first foray into actually publishing something written by AI. So lots of opinion still.
Well,
I think and that was the other big role that I think I play is product designer.
mhm.
Um, because I've got 20 plus years involved in that. So hoping that the UI is as intuitive as it can be, easy to use, all that kind of stuff.
Well,
Um,
I have found the AI pretty intuitive on it for it.
mhm.
Playing around with it, it's going to get another nice review when I do my show next week with my daughter Amber. So you'll hear more about this promotion next week and my rundown in the back end of it. But yeah, I found it very nice in in the aspects of use. The AI is nice and simple. I did like the one aspect in your AI where you can go in there and adjust the colors for your published and your waiting posts.
There you go.
That was a very useful thing because the colors you chose weren't very good for my
They don't
eyes.
pop. Right. Well, and that's something else that I've been trying to like. I do a lot of work with Michelle Frechette, who a lot of people know,
Hmm.
very involved in the community. She and I launched WP Wiki this year as well, so everybody should go check that out. Another free project where we're just trying to get our arms around everything we can in the WordPress world, and so that's been a fun project. But she's also done a lot of educating me about accessibility, and I won't say that the plugin is accessible, but I'm trying. And so a lot of it is thinking about things like color contrast, stuff like that. There you go.
Well, color and color contrast are very important to many people, especially myself when I'm looking on. And in particular, like my daughter is really big about different color contrasts of things
Yeah, good.
when she's pulling everything out and developing it. So let's see where I was going with this. All right, on post calendar, back to we are talking about the using the AI for development, and one of
Mhm.
the aspects I found of it, are you going in and reviewing the code and making sure the code is good and solid as it's done through? What do you use for double checking the security issues that the code may or may not have? I know this is a pretty simple plugin. Like I've done 3 plugins now using AI to help me write them. Because my biggest problem with code is that while I understood the code, I could write the code. It takes me hours to write it because my typing skills suck.
Exactly.
And the AI helps me do all that, and it helps me dig down into the code. And when the one I've most recently that people have started picking up here and there, and I've heard good reports, is I wrote an LLL. Actually, I forked. I shouldn't say I wrote. I forked an LLMS text file plugin and added some
Nice.
functionality to it that nobody else was using yet. So I see that functionality being picked up other places, but that's the way it goes. You come up with something, somebody
Sure.
else is going to come up with it too. There
Yep.
are no original ideas, just who's first to market with them.
Right. Well, and these days it's moving faster and faster, especially when AI is involved. But yeah, so to answer your question, I mean, I've been seeing more conversations about this on X, on Twitter. I still can't call it X.
Yeah.
And elsewhere, Facebook groups and such. I can still call it Facebook. But it's on one end of the spectrum. So, there's a lot of discussion, often facetiously, about vibe coding, truly hands off the steering wheel, shouting from the back seat, "Hey, this is what I want," and hoping you don't hit a wall.
Yeah.
The truth of that, I think, is still pretty sparse or few and far between, unless it's tiny, right? Like, there's definitely instances where, I mean, I'm still glancing at the code, but I trusted to write a 3-line function that adds a column to your admin or something, dead simple WordPress stuff. But the truth is, I think where most of us are at, however we are arriving at AI generating bigger and bigger products, bigger and bigger code bases, is benefiting from years and years of development. So the phrase that keeps coming up is, you don't know what you don't know. So people talking about having AI generate something, and then turns out that it's easily hackable, and they're like, well, how was I supposed to know that I needed to make my passwords more secure or whatever. And the truth is, the way that I phrased it back to them was, you're essentially a first generation developer. Like, when I started doing really learning how to program back in the 2003 or whatever it was, I had to learn all this stuff too, and I was reading tutorials and whatnot. And so it's just comes down to the expectation. I think that AI is being promoted as this thing where, and you even see ads on TV now and online where they're like, whatever your idea is, one sentence, and the next day you'll have an app on your phone. And
Yeah.
and it maybe it's technically possible, but probably not, unless that app you press a button and hear a fart noise or something, like the early days of mobile apps, right? But we all have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
But for me, it's still kind of a mix between knowing, a bit of trust, and also I know what to look for. I know what questions to ask. And so I think we're just going to get to the point where more of us, even if we are not developers, we at least know what questions to ask.
Yeah.
Or you've got an agent that's babysitting an agent who also knows what questions to ask, and at some point we're actually going to trust that process.
Well, that's definitely the way.
I don't think we're there yet.
No, we're a long ways from that, but at least we've advanced from the apps that were created at the beginning of this year. So,
right.
Because there were,
and I'm
were
looking
a few...
at that too. Like,
ahead.
so I've got an online game called Mexican Train Online, which is an online version of Mexican Train. You'll be shocked to hear. But I am at a point where I want to rebuild it, largely for performance, but also using new frameworks that will let it be not only web-based, but also using the same code base, I can generate actual mobile apps. So that's what I'm walking towards. And 6 months ago, I, to the best of my ability, started the brain dump process of this is, here's the whole spec, here's what we want to build, and got, I don't know, quarter of the way into the build and just got completely tangled in the weeds
Yeah.
because I didn't know yet how to wrangle AI, and I still don't, but I know a lot better. And so now, so I wound up just kind of going, let's abandon that for a while. Let's let time go by. And then at this point, I'm back in the throes of it, and we're more than halfway through, and I have every confidence that I'm actually going to finish. So, we're all learning as we go.
Absolutely. Well, we got a small comment here from the Peanut Gallery from World's Worst Web Developer.
I
Use the
like peanuts.
use the WordPress plugin, Teams plugin, checker. Also PHP Stan, PHPS Stan, PHP Stan.
PHP stand. Yeah. Yeah. These are great code-based tools,
Yeah.
for doing some common sense checks. Um, I find that they catch lots and lots of stuff. They catch some things that aren't actually logical, but that's fine. It's doing what it's supposed to. Um, and then there's also stuff that it can't catch because it's purely regex based and
Mm-hmm.
function based and all that kind of stuff. So I'm actually looking forward to when those kinds of tools get integrated with AI. So you've got hard searches, you know, $ underscore get
Yeah.
must be escaped kind of things.
Right.
But then you've got more like fuzzy LLM based searches that are like, if I click on this, what happens? And is that what I want to happen? And could somebody who is not signed in possibly click on this thing that I don't want to happen or whatever, So I think it's all gonna, again, as time goes by, these tools are gonna get better and better.
Well, they are, and they've just this last year. There's been exponential growth because this time last year was when people were first starting to think about using the AI for code writing. By January,
Yep.
February, it came into full force, and now we're back in October, and so much has been done in just this last year. It's been an
Yep.
exponential growth. I've found it really quite interesting to watch and to be part of along the way. Now,
Yep.
beyond Post Calendar, how else are you using AI in WordPress development? Any experiments or warnings for the community that you're playing with?
Uh, it's addictive.
Yeah, it is. It can eat up a lot of time.
um, and yeah, you made me reflect for a minute. So in March of this year, I went to Thailand, and that was where, while I was there, I actually launched my first app. I rewrote. I have a productivity timer that I've had online for 15 years now or something, called Timer Duro. And that was due for an update. And that is a tool that I have never figured out how to monetize, so I've given up. And so basically, I just use it as an excuse to rewrite anytime I want to learn something new. So I had Cursor help me get that online, and I was blown away. Now I would find the process that I went through with that archaic and slow. um, the the continuing my journey, I've got just now I actually have my first full client build. I'm building a SaaS app, a platform essentially
Hmm.
for a client, with their full knowledge. Went to them and was like, "Hey, look, you're going to be. I now believe that I have this process down well enough. I'm using AI. I mean, I'm still using. So the secret sauce really to a lot of the concerns and questions that come up is Git,
Yeah,
right? Is version control.
yeah.
So AI makes changes. Here's how you see what has changed, and then you decide whether it's okay or not. Again, thankfully, I worked at a couple of these big companies, and because they're big, they had a really good process of doing full pull requests and doing full code reviews, and everybody had to do code reviews, even of code that was in languages they didn't understand. So you had to follow the logic, you had to decide whether the requirements were met, you had to do the QA testing, all that kind of stuff. And it was nerve-wracking sometimes, but it was extremely valuable. So that's kind of what's now been built into my process, and the process of the people who I'm looking to, who are a step ahead of me with AI development. But the biggest, I think the only like warning is that, I don't know, it's not a warning, but I think a thing that a lot of us are struggling with is that, again, just as you said, this is such new territory, and when you get fairly far down the path of building something, it's really easy to get tangled. It's really easy for AI to run away. People talk a lot about hallucination. I don't see a lot of that, but it does get to a point where it's like it might, once in a while you can have the 1 step forward, 2 step back kind of scenario, and all that kind of stuff. So it's for me, I'm finding it a lot of it's about meta thinking and meta planning. But we also have the benefit of, like, this week, I was again working on a project, and I'm like, this is how do I track the tasks that I want it to do? So I alt tabbed, opened a new window, and 45 minutes later, AI had generated a task manager, the way that I wanted it to be built, that I'm now using. So I'm now building products in order to build products, because you can just work that fast. And so I think we're going to see more and more custom products. I think we're going to see fewer and fewer products that are little products that are commercially viable, because I think people are going to start rolling their own. I think it's going to be continue to be fascinating to watch.
Well, you briefly mentioned AI hallucinations. I've seen a few in what I'm writing. Usually what it does is it makes random stray typos.
Mm-hmm.
But with AI, and it's advancing so rapidly, and you just mentioning that some of the advances that it allows you to do, with, like, if your brain works very fast, you can open up several tabs with a different AI and start having the different AIs doing different things for you. Well, same AI, but still different
Yep.
different conversations with the AI going.
Yep.
Now, how do you think, and in particular in and around the products, and as you mentioned, some of the simple products out there are, people are just going to roll their own, such as
Yeah.
trying to think of, well, even something as simple as what you've got here with the post calendar, simpler ones. But what other ways do you think the AI, with its rapid advances, are going to disrupt the traditional WordPress development process? Or is it just going to be a continued collaborator for those? Are we looking at a future of just big plugin type things that are multi-level use, such as a big membership site or a specific membership
Right.
site, or other more code intensive stuff, which will be viable products versus the simple stuff?
So one of the things that WordPress as a concept, involving software, involving community, involving policy, involving software, I already said that, involving everything, has struggled with, as my dogs
Yeah, that's all right.
decide to start barking.
Dog has an opinion on it. We just can't understand it.
Definitely. Oh, he does. But we've seen WordPress go upstream. Clients are getting bigger and bigger. The developers are getting more and more expensive. Software is getting more expensive. So people talk about, like, WooCommerce is free, but if you want it to actually work, you need to spend $1,000 on plugins.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that. You're still, in theory, you could make, way more money by spending $1,000. $1,000 is not a big investment for starting a business, but it's also not free anymore.
Yeah.
I think we also saw a shift, like, years ago when I launched my first commercial plugin, a Kanban board, project management within WordPress, like the first comment I got. Sorry, hold on just a second.
Yeah, it's all right.
The first comment I got was, "How dare you charge for this?" And a 1-star review. I was like, "That's awesome. That's the way you want to start, a new commercial venture." But that was I think more of the ethos, and we've even seen WordPress leadership shift a bit to where there's at least an understanding that commercial ventures need to exist.
Yes.
It's okay that there's money that isn't just going into core, basically, and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, all that to say, there's one of my little rants. But the point is things are going upstream. Things are getting more expensive. Things are getting more more deeply developed. And so I think we're going to see this. This is another instance where we're going to see fewer and fewer, little. You used to be able to write little one-feature plugins and have a whole suite of one-feature plugins, and they now need to be very well thought out, complex, solve bigger problems type of products, because again, people are going to be like, oh, just I don't. It used to. I think we went from developers writing simple functions, or you'd install a simple plugin that would do a simple thing, to developers writing a simple function, or simply going to Stack Overflow or GitHub and finding a gist, whatever, code snippet, whatever they're called.
Yep.
And you just drop that in your function and you pray. It's like what we used to do with JavaScript back in the late 90s. You just kind of we didn't really, or CGI scripts, you didn't really understand what it was doing. You just kind of hoped that it didn't break anything. And I think we're going to see that again now with AI, where it just hey, here's 90% of the little things, the little tweaks, or zhuzhes, hide the appearance menu item from the clients, if based on their user roles, so that they won't go in and accidentally change the theme, which I've had them do before. Protect them from themselves, kind of stuff. And for me, it's gone. Over the years, I've written those plugins and then I've bought those plugins. But at this point, I'm largely just going to hand AI a list and say, here's all the little, the little massages that I want on this site to help protect a client from themselves.
Yeah.
But at the same time, even today, I was, again, I'm starting to build this site or this platform for this client. And so all of the code to generate custom post types and all that stuff takes seconds now. Awesome. But when we got to where I'm trying to do some customization in Gutenberg, it absolutely failed. And we got into the loop that you never want to get into, where you're like, try it this way. And it's like, this sounds ridiculous, but I'm glad I'm a developer, because I know I know more suggestions I can make, rather than just it's still not working, please try something else. But ultimately I said, forget it. I grabbed advanced custom fields, dropped that in, and it works a dream, right? And I already know that. And so, okay, I guess then the platform, at least for now, in order to get it out the door reliably and quickly, is going to use ACF for at least some of this stuff.
Yeah.
And that's okay, but again, I think we're still in this very, middle ground, and man, it's moving fast. So, we'll see where we land.
Oh yeah. Well, it's going to be interesting. I'm rather enjoying the ride with AI along the ways, and
me too.
what it's bringing. I mean, right now, me and another fellow are collaborating on a big plugin we've been working on for quite some time, and AI has allowed us to make some major jumps in it in the last few months. So, right. Because it was.
And
what's that?
My hope is, I was just saying, it's fun to think bigger, because at this point we can. And what I'm intrigued by is, we're again, I still love the analogy of like your hands are maybe not touching the steering wheel, but they're still right there.
Hmm.
Um, I'm also a dude in a room, talking to other dudes and dudettes in rooms, and we're talking about building WordPress plugins. I'm excited to see what NASA's doing with this stuff, or whoever.
Hmm.
Um, because I think this is if it's going to 10x me, my ability to make cool little websites or cool little web apps or cool little plugins, like who else is it 10xing when they are already 10x past me? And I'm excited and fascinated. I also fully expect um, to be out of a job at some point, or that's not true, but my job will change drastically,
Yeah.
and I'm up for it. Um, but it's all like you say, it's all pretty fascinating, and what we're able to do, and it kind of enables, or it sparks the imagination.
That it does, and it's been thoroughly enjoyable. Now, off on a different tangent here. Now, you've been guests on different podcasts like WP Tavern, Post Status Sessions, and you've done some marketing and whatnot. What piece of marketing advice for WordPress product creators would you give based on your experiences doing all that?
And that's what we probably should have spent the hour talking about, because this is still the nut that not many people can crack, um, and AI can only help you so much.
Mm-hmm.
WordPress is a hard ecosystem. I still love it,
Yeah.
for the fact that it's a walled garden, but it's a walled garden that's much easier to get into than like the App Store.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but we're in a bubble, and I don't mean like economic bubble, but a walled garden again, like, or that's not the analogy. Like, Post Status is this phenomenal community of essentially WordPress insiders, and not everybody is, and there's 1,000 different roles involved in it, but we are all talking to each other, and then when I have a client who's a locksmith, I have a client who's runs a food truck. Um, they have no concept of any of the stuff that I'm talking about in WordPress. It's like installing, Excel. You talked about Microsoft earlier. It's like
Mm-hmm.
it's just a piece of software that gets installed, um, and that's true. But so then the question is, Microsoft is Microsoft. If you were trying to be the new Microsoft now, how on earth would you get the word out? I'm not sure, right?
Yeah.
And it's the same with WordPress, where like I can sell my plugins to other plugin developers, or maybe agencies, and site developers, but uh, how do I get to the actual end user? I don't know. And this is, I mean, it's literally the $1 million question. If you've got a product that people want to buy, which is a whole other thing. But so all that to say, the only thing that I see right now that I think works, but I'm not particularly taking advantage of it. I don't really have a product that I'm pushing hard on at the moment. Um, but I still think that newsletters and podcasts are probably the big winners right
Yeah.
now. So paying people like John Overall, whoever he is, lots of money to talk about your plugin, your product, or whatever, sponsoring
Yeah.
podcasts, and then the newsletter still wins.
Well,
People
it,
still like their inbox,
yeah.
like getting news from their inbox. I get at least a dozen different WordPress newsletters just because I
Mm,
want to stay on top of everything.
yeah.
They all have sponsored sections,
Mm-hmm.
and then I think there's a lot of strength in there's these lovely random people. People have little empires, tiny or big.
Mm-hmm.
The one I always love just promoting is there's a weekly newsletter called Dense Discovery that I just absolutely love. I look forward to it every week. And down at the bottom, there's a handful of sponsored, little classifieds, basically. So at various points when I've been promoting products, I've paid them money, reasonable amounts to promote my my products.
I've
Did we say
never
no,
heard
dense, 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 like
DENSE.
thick,
Oh,
thick.
DENSE. Okay. Yeah, I
Yeah.
forget. You're seeing the screen. That's not what's going out to the others. E-
Oh, okay. Um,
Dense discovery. Okay.
there you go.
Yeah,
Dense discovery,
never,
thoughtful, curated links and whatnot.
never heard of it, but that's one for me
Right.
to check out
It's
after the
and
show.
and yeah, 37,000 people also have never heard of it or something.
Yeah.
And that's one of these. That's what I mean. Like it's one person. Maybe they've got help, but
Yeah.
one person just doing lovely things online.
Mhm.
They curate this beautifully designed newsletter that's some thoughtful writing at the top, and they do a little profile of somebody interesting who's
Yeah.
promoting other wonderful things,
Mhm.
good books, good artwork, all that kind of stuff. So to me, and it's not WordPress specific.
Yeah. Well,
And
that's
so
always useful. You'll find other things that are not WordPress specific because, as you mentioned, it's really hard when you bring out a new plugin. I know that I'm working on the plugin that I'm hoping to launch next year. It's going to be something that's completely different, and I have to reach an audience that is outside the developers because
right,
most of the website clients, they're small groups and organizations that manage it themselves. And that's the whole problem is you've got a lot of developers, you've got a lot of agencies that manage a lot of websites, but there's a lot of small groups, organizations, people who do it on their own, and they're trying to find the things that they need for their site
right,
along the way. And yeah, you're right.
and
How do you reach them? And yeah, newsletters, they are fantastic. I haven't revived mine yet. That's been on my agenda to do, but with so many things I do, it's like that one there takes a back seat at the time being. It's enough just to get this show out every week.
right. And it's and so you have to look at like a B2C app that I've wanted to build for years. So I'm finally, again, most of the way through a build. Caters to bedroom producers, bedroom DJs,
Mm-hmm.
music producers, hobby music producers, or professional but not full time. And so I'm building that for them, but it's they don't care if it's has WordPress in the back end or not. It's not that's not important. So and it's been a long time since I've tried to market outside of the WordPress ecosystem. And I'm looking forward to it.
Well, it'll definitely be a challenging one there. All right, well, let's wrap this up with a few things here. As we mentioned in your intro, you're powered by Yorkshire Gold Tea. How does that fuel your creativity and any other routines that help you keep you sharp and working on your daily dev work?
Well, you've got to have your favorite things, right? Like
Yeah.
I've got, like every dev, I've got a shelf full of toys behind me, um, but they make me smile
Mm-hmm.
all the time. And as I look around the rest of the room, I've got little knickknacks from travel and whatnot. Yorkshire Gold for me was I'm an Anglophile. I listen to, because I'm such a fan of dance music. Of course, I'm a fan of a lot of music that comes out of England, and they drink tea, even though
Yep.
it's terrible. Uh,
I don't know.
so
I was a tea drinker for years. Only in the last year have I started drinking coffee.
But I got hooked on Yorkshire Gold, and have built up quite a habit, and I just love it. And they are actually, it's a nice coincidence. Everybody should go follow them on Twitter, even if you are not a Yorkshire Gold drinker. They have, I have no idea what their marketing team looks like. It might just be somebody's grandmother, but they put out just funny, cute little things. They promote fun, cute stuff. They make fun of other brands or people or circumstances in really fun and funny ways that doesn't really step on any toes. And it's just a delight. And so it's a great product and a great brand. Um, and I happen to drink multiple cups of it every day. Um, it's also an excuse to I live in a quite small house, and so like my water bottle does not fit under the faucet upstairs, so I have to walk downstairs to fill my water bottle, which is not a bad thing. Get my butt out of the seat,
Yep.
and also go drink more water. But I also often will go and make a cup of tea because I've got to wait, 5 minutes for the water to heat up and 5 minutes for it to steep. So I've got to spend 10 minutes just staring into space, thinking away from the computer, and I try not to bring my phone with me. So it's also a bit of it affords me a bit of meditation, or at least get let me do some clean and clear thinking a few times a day.
That's where my dog helps me. He drags me
I
out
was
of my
I
he
was just
drags me out
gonna
of
say,
my computer chair at least every 3 hours to go for a walk. Because I
there you
I
go.
currently live in an apartment, so I can't just say open the door and say go play. No, I have to take him out.
Right.
And it's a minimum
Yeah.
15, 20 minutes of time to get away from the computer, think, stretch the eyes and the legs,
Exactly.
all
Yeah.
of that.
And I'm it's was just about to say, and to go pet my dogs, as this one stands here and just stares at me.
He's like, remember me? I'm important, man.
Hello. Well, with the time change, right? Like it's dinner time, even though it's
Oh
now
yeah.
only 4.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
she's a little pissed.
The dogs don't understand the clocks, although I'm certain my dog does, because sometimes he'll come whining at me. I'll look at the clock and say, "Really? Right? Exactly at this time every day? Okay." But yeah, the time change has definitely messed him up a little bit. He's whining for his dinner earlier. It's like, well,
Exactly.
yeah, okay. All right. Now, one last thing here. Now, you're a musician. You mentioned your brief love of the music from Britain, and you're on Twitter under Secret Agent Gel. Is that what I got?
There you go.
There we go. Secret
Yep.
Agent Gel. I want to call it Secretariat Gentle. It's just
I've definitely been called. It's a fun, weird name that I came up with 100 years ago.
Yeah.
That has definitely been massacred in uncountable number of ways. But that's half the fun of it.
There's so many usernames and domain names like that where if you see them, you'll see all them sled together because they're all lowercase, and you see a word that is made in the middle of what they were trying to make. There's companies that I can't remember them now. There's some of them that really had a poor choice when their name was slid together as one word.
Oh yeah. So yeah, Secret Agent Gel with a G, is as me as a dance music producer, and I've got a bunch of mixes up there. If nothing else, it might not be your cup of tea, but I promise you, it's good music to code by. So hit play and see what you think.
Well, give it a shot. I went and checked it out, but I didn't play anything. But you're also a dad joke enthusiast. You got a good dad joke for us before we close this out?
Oh no, it's all about context.
Oh, okay.
So there's, I can usually just say something stupid in response to whatever other people are talking about, and get some groans and eye rolls.
I don't know. My youngest son seems to be a dad joke enthusiast already. He comes to me and he tells me these dad jokes, and I'm like, really? Oh dear. He just pops them off. All right. Well,
that's awesome.
With these creative influences, how do they improve your WordPress development?
Oh, for sure. I mean, ideas, like I said, even a minute ago, an app that I'm building caters to these other interests. Anything to get you out of the circular discussion that is WordPress and software and all that kind of stuff. You never know where good ideas are going to come from. There was, I'm going to blank on the name, but the podcast is called Tech Zing, that I used to listen to regularly. And one of the concepts that it's two nerds talking about nerd things. They've been going for decades, but they at one point talked a lot about the concept of luck surface area. So basically, the more you the more you get out in the world, the more things you get involved with, the more you read, the more you write, all that kind of stuff. Basically, you're spreading a wider and wider net. More likely that lightning is going to strike, that you're going to, get lucky in life and in ideas and all that kind of stuff. Put a different way, like having a broad interests, a broad network, all that kind of stuff, you only benefit from it. So,
Oh, absolutely.
and
The more stuff
if
you're
nothing
involved
else, you
in,
can't only write code.
no, the more stuff you're involved in, the more opportunities come your way. All right. And thinking of opportunities, this is the point here where you get to tell everyone where they can find you. And of course, all the links to all these things will be found in the show notes when we publish the show. And fire away.
Sure. The place where I am most active for this kind of stuff is Corey Maass. Spelled the way it sounds. Just kidding. Not at all. But on Twitter, tweet at me there if you have questions or interests, or gelform.com is really my resume site. But if always interested in helping other people out, getting involved in the community, collaborating, all that kind of stuff. So if anybody wants to get in touch, by all means, send me an email through gelform.com. Again, gel with a G.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Don't run away. We got a outro here and a little bit of music for people, and I'll be right back with you.
Thanks, John.
Reminders for the show. All the show notes can be found at wppluginsa2z.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the newsletter for more useful information delivered directly to your inbox. WP Plugins A to Z is a show that offers honest and unbiased reviews of plugins created by you, the developers, because you support the show. Help keep the show honest and unbiased by going to wppluginsa2z.com/donate and set the donation level that fits your budget. Help us make the show better for you by subscribing and reviewing the show through your favorite podcast app. You can also watch the show live on YouTube at WP Plugins A to Z, and remember to subscribe and hit the bell to get notifications of all new videos. You can also follow the show on X at WP Plugins A to Z. John can be reached directly through the website wpproa2z.com or email him at john@wppro.ca. Amber can also be contacted through the website at wpproa2z.com or email her directly, amber@wppro.ca. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day, and we'll see you next week.
All righty, folks. That's all we got. Take care now. Bye-bye.
Oh my god, that is amazing!
Oh no. Obviously we just lost the satellite feed. That sucks.